Welcome back to the Grit and Gut podcast where
Oh,
toughness talks, the grit, the grind, the guts, and the greatness, all things wrestling. Oh, what happened, Mike?
it totally.
Mike,
Go
did
ahead
you
and
say
start.
something?
Yeah. Do you have me now?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you said
Okay.
something like it wasn't recording or something.
No,
Like
it
something.
like for some reason it totally like cut out and then started recording. I was like, okay, but we're good now.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
just go
So
ahead and start
I'm
right,
good to
right back
just
from the
start
beginning.
over right now. Okay.
Yep.
Sure. Welcome back to the Grit and Gut podcast where toughness talks, the grit, the grind, the guts, and the greatness, all things wrestling. I'm your co host, Coach Craig VanDyke.
And I'm Mike Harbison, and today we're kicking off the women's freestyle preview. We're going to start with the lightweights 50, 53, 55, and 57 kilos, where Team USA has some fresh faces and a returning legend. But real quick, Sujilayev is out for the UWW 2025. His visa did not get approved. Craig?
Yeah, so we know there's a lot of turmoil out there in the world, and I know we haven't formally introduced ourselves, but my co-host there, Mike Harbison, he's wrestled on our Veterans World Team for a few years, and I'm the co-head coach of that program. And I'll tell you, wrestling and all sports, but we see it in wrestling because that's what we do. It
Yeah,
bridges the gap between these political divides. We don't have
100%.
to. We are not our government. We are not that. We are wrestlers. We are human beings. When you have met someone from Iran, you've met one of one. You haven't met all Iranians. When you meet a
Correct.
Russian, you have met one Russian. You haven't met all. When you meet an American, you met. So we're all one of one. We need to get back to where we're treating people as individuals and not what grouping them into different buckets. We need to
Yeah.
treat them as individuals. And I remember last year out in Croatia, this Iranian guy, he just came up to me and I want U.S. gear. I want U.S. gear. I've given him this quarter zip pullover. I said, hey man, it's a gift for you. And he was just insistent that he gives me something. So okay, I take his jacket, and then he's taken off his shirt. Take the shirt. I said, man, you don't have to give me your shirt, like da da da. And he was just insistent. So anyway, he ends up giving me his shirt. So we're brothers because of wrestling. We're not defined
Yeah.
by what our governments do, our countries do. You meet one person, you've met one of one.
Yeah, yeah, and judge the man by the man, right? And like same thing, similar.
That's right.
Those Iranians, man, they love giving stuff away and getting the gear, man. So I got a couple singlets, a couple
Of
t-shirts,
course. Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, but
Yeah.
let's go ahead and get into Audrey Jimenez.
All right. So looking back at 50 kilos, obviously the U.S. very strong here. We're coming off Sarah Hildebrandt winning a gold at the Olympics. Prior to that, she was multiple-time bronze medalist back in 21. Before those two bronze medals, she was a silver medalist. Prior to, she's the legend in that weight class. Prior to her, we had Whitney Condor representing us. Didn't win medals there, but was a good representative for probably 4 years.
Yeah,
She was our world team member there. But Audrey Jimenez, so young, hungry. Sorry, I can't not mention Victoria Anthony. My apologies.
I
Victoria
was
Anthony was
wondering, man.
holding
I was
that
like,
weight
you
down
just
for.
breezed right
I'm.
over.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Vicky Vortex. If you're listening, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
shame
couldn't forget
yourself,
about
Craig.
you. She was a junior world champion and went out there and was highly competitive in the world for us. When that weight class changed, because it was actually, what was it, lower than that before. It was really her wheelhouse, and as that weight class changed, she had to start wrestling bigger people than her, but she was a great representative
Oh
for the
yeah,
U.S. Still out there doing a lot of good things. But anyway, back to the youngster there. She is a U17 bronze medalist, a U23 silver medalist, and a two-time U20 silver medalist. So she's going to bring in a lot of international experience here too. I'm excited for what she can do. Mike, what do you think about Audrey?
Yeah, and she's one of my favorites, honestly, for the USA women's team as far as on the younger end. You know, she earned her spot by taking out Erin Goldston at Final X. And she's also had a lot of big international experience this past year. She battled Japan's Rimina Yoshimoto at the U20 level and had a tough match in the finals versus Rizova from Ukraine. In that match, she was just a pit bull on the attack. And that's why I like her. That's why she's one of my favorites. She is relentless. And like in that Rizova match, she started off with just an intense attack on that head and then straightened into relentless leg attacks. She gets the takedown in that leg lace. Bro, that leg lace is gnarly both times. And she locks in a 14-3 win. Pan Am's versus Olympic silver medalist Guzman. If you remember that match, or that's a match to go back and watch if you want to see how tough this girl is, man. She goes down 6-0 early. She keeps pushing, keeps attacking. It doesn't even phase her. And then boom, she hits a slick outside single and then starts the second period down 8-2 and then just hits a nice reattack and then that leg lace to take it to 8-6 and then that takedown and brutal leg lace again and ends up winning it 18-8. Like, man, her grit.
What grit?
Yeah.
What grit? That's
Oh
grit
my
and
gosh.
guts. Guts with the ankle lace,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, you know, and she when she locks that up, even the announcers, there is funny listening to announcers during that match because they're like, that leg lace is just brutal. Look at the way she traps it, you know. So she's done a lot of high
That's
pressure
awesome.
situations and she's come back when, you know, a lot of people I think would have given up and she just comes back and is
Mm-hmm.
relentless.
Absolutely. Grit and gut for sure. And Jimenez, she's going to come in as the 7 seed. Of course, the 1 seed there, Ukrainian Livach is, very solid, very strong wrestler. Has been there at the top of the world for a long time. Of course, the Japanese team, historically is the best women's freestyle team. We'll get more into that later, but that's the 2 seed. So her path to a medal, she's going to have to go through a top 4 seed here. She's going to have to knock one of them off. Mike, can she do it?
You know, I think she can, you know, I mean, she did beat, you know, an Olympic silver medalist, you know, and so I mean, she can, you know, it's all going to depend again, like we keep saying and kind of beating that horse up, but the draw, you know, draws are going to be important, who goes where and different things like that. And I know she's a number 7 seed. Um, but I think I think she's gonna surprise a lot of people, honestly. And I might be biased because she is, like I said, one of my favorite young up and comers. I love her style. So,
Yep.
but I got a lot of faith in her, and I think she's really gonna surprise a lot of people.
Hey, if she locks up one of those ankle laces, obviously she can take out anybody. I mean, you get locked in one of those, and that can be a match ender right away for her. She's got to keep them in bounds as she's doing
Well,
it, and
and that's the other
hey,
thing.
get
She's
that.
really good at keeping them in bounds. Like there's been quite a few times where she will drag them back in and just keep that lace and it's I mean, it's tight. That lace is wicked, man. Kind of like a Sarah Hildebrand lace, you
Absolutely.
know?
Yep, absolutely. So, these women's weight classes have changed a little bit. So, we're going to mention Sarah Hildebrand again because
Yeah,
the way the women's weights have kind of changed over the years, Hildebrand's been 50, she's been 53, they've kind of switched over.
for sure.
Mike, I should have went even deeper back into the 90s. Trisha Saunders was the 50
Oh,
kilo. And then after
yeah,
that, here's a name maybe a lot of you don't know, but should Shannon Williams. I got the chance to meet her at the California Hall of Fame dinner earlier this year. She held down that weight class for many years and is still to this day, great representative for our sport and women's wrestling. So really great history here in the neighborhood of
yeah,
50
for sure.
kilos for the U.S. It was 48. It was 50. I don't
Yeah,
know, 51, 52, 53. It's kind of changed over the years, but man, we have, just like in the men's side, we have great women lightweights. So I'm excited to see what Audrey's going to bring for us this year in 2025.
for sure. And Let's talk about 53 kilos.
All right, moving up to 53. Again, as I talked about, these weights, the way they've shifted, we have Felicity Taylor, but, Sarah Hildebrandt was, in this weight and won silver and bronze in a similar weight class. Felicity Taylor, though, she's stepping in her first senior level world team. She's the first Iowa-born female to make the world team,
Which
which
is
is
interesting.
interesting. So she's going to be carrying the weight of that
Whew.
great Iowa crowd. Iowa, not just the University of Iowa. They have many
All of it.
good not even just
Nope.
Division I programs. I mean, all divisions
Yeah.
of collegiate wrestling. You talk about a great fan base. So she's going to be carrying some of that weight with her to these world championships. Mike, how do you see it going down?
Well,
And how did she get here? How did she get
yeah.
here?
So, well, I think first off, she's now training with Big Game, right, in Iowa. So she's back home. She's training there. Found herself a really good spot. She seems a lot better and a lot more comfortable and back to her old style of 2-on-1, just gritty, And she clinched her spot by outlasting Gonzalez, which is a rematch of the U.S. Open finals, where at the U.S. Open, Gonzalez got the better of her. And then at Final X, though, Felicity comes back, starts wrestling her style. And at the Open, she had gone through multiple past world team trial placers, and she has quite a bit of international experience at the age group levels and is well seasoned against strong competition. So her style is all about, she's pretty gritty. She's constant pressure, hard hand fighting, scrambling deep into positions. Over the last 2 years, she's shown she can hang late in matches, and that's going to be key at Worlds.
Absolutely. She's going to be coming in unseeded, which does make things tricky for her in a loaded bracket. The Ecuadorian woman is number one, followed by the People's Republic of North Korea, number two, and the Indian Anthem, number four. You also have a former world champion from Japan, Akuno, who is going to be unseeded. Man, what happens? What happens in that bracket is going to depend on where Akuno gets drawn in.
Yeah, for sure. And two, if Felicity wrestles like she did at Final X, be pretty solid. But in the finals match at the Open, she wrestled a lot more defensively, wasn't very aggressive with her 2-on-1s, and so I think she has to go back to her original style, which is 2-on-1s, aggressive, tough hand fight, push that pressure, and she'll be able to do pretty good. She'll probably be able to keep match close. I'm not sure how the outcomes will go, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving up to 55 kilos, Cristelle Rodriguez. This is a non-Olympic weight. So as far as Olympics go, not a lot of history there. However, at this weight class, again, we have, girls that have been around this weight: Helen Maroulis, Jakara Winchester, Jenna Burkett, all of those women winning world level medals, Maroulis being a champion, Winchester also being a champion, as well as a silver
Yeah.
medalist, with Burkett winning bronze in 2021. So we do have a little bit of history here in this non-Olympic weight, but I'll tell you what, here we go. We got a Cali girl here, so I'm rooting for her,
Oh
Mike.
yeah.
How do you see it going down for Miss Rodriguez?
Well, she made the team with just composure, right? She stayed to her game plan, wasn't flashy, just real steady. She thrives in the position battles. She doesn't panic in close matches, and she's able to score from all areas, whether it's her low single, mid level, or high level attacks. She's versatile, and she's also able to pin you, as she showed in her infamous U20 finals match, which I think was like 40 seconds or something like that, and she just stuck her. So she's got a lot in her arsenal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She'll come in as the 8th seed. The top seed in that weight is a woman from France, followed by another Ukrainian, Canadian. And so she will probably in that second round face one of these top seeds, assuming she gets by her first one. And, who knows? She has that, what I call home run. She has that home run ball in there. She
Yeah.
can go out and pin you real quick, like you mentioned. Mike, what do you see as results for her here coming in as the 8 seed?
Yeah, I think, again, I'm like you, that second match is probably going to be crucial for her. And that's going to determine she's always got the potential to pin you. And if she gets in one of those situations, takes advantage of it, obviously that's great. Yeah, there's a lot of, I think that second match is just going to be the key there.
Sure, absolutely. So, all right, well, let's move up to 57 kilos. Helen Maroulis, the great Helen Maroulis. She is the history of U.S. wrestling at 57. The Olympic gold medalist in 2016, bronze in 2020, four-time world champion, the most decorated women's wrestler of all time here. She is the history of this weight class. So, because of her, America has dominated in this weight class. Mike, tell us her path to making yet another world team.
Well, I mean, it's Helen, right? So she made the team again at Final X and proving she still got it. And her style is she's so composed, technically flawless, and built on a beautiful toughness, right? Nobody's been through more adversity and still stood on top. Yeah. She's battled concussions, injuries, surgery, and she still comes back swinging. She's so talented and she is so well composed at all times. I mean, she's one of the best to ever do it. And it's an honor to be able to witness her abilities on the mat.
Absolutely. We're so glad she's has the grit and gut to come back from all the challenges that she's faced. She has by far earned this 1 seed in the bracket, so she's going to be going in as the top dog here. The Chinese wrestler Hong is going to be number 2, Ecuadorian number 3. Seems like a Russian will be number 4 representing UWW. We don't hear a lot on the women's side with a lot of Russian women, but here's one that'll be tough in the bracket. And then of course Japan is going to have an unseeded wrestler, but also very dangerous. Where that Japanese wrestler falls in the bracket could determine who's coming for a medal in this weight. But Helen's ready for everybody. I'm really excited for that. So there we have it. That's Jimenez, Taylor, Rodriguez, and Maroulis, 4 women leading off Team USA's lineup.
From Audrey's first real world's test to Felicity fighting uphill to Cristelle breaking through at 55 and Helen chasing another gold. This is the grit of Team USA. Next episode, we'll cover 59 through 65 kilos.